Going on, everybody? In this screencast, I'm going to be going over the directions for your Lewis and Clark project, the Lewis and Clark Expedition, an online journal. Exciting. Now, for this project, you are going to be creating a Google site. There will be a separate video explaining how to do that if you do not remember. This was the same tool that you used earlier in the year for your American Revolution journal. Now, in your online journal for this project, for this Lewis and Clark project, you are going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 entries, 5 journal entries, Journal 1, Journal 2, Journal 3, Journal 4, and Journal 5. Now, Journal 1 is going to be about the members of the crew that go on this expedition. For this assignment, you'll be choosing one member of the crew and writing a 2 to 3 paragraph mini biography about that member. Now, for this biography, you need to include as much information as possible to the role of the person played in the expedition, as well as any significant discoveries or events that occurred to the person you chose, as well as hopefully a photo or some type of avatar that represents the person. So you are choosing one of 4 options, those being Lewis, Clark, Sacagawea, or York. These are 4 members of the crew. For your second journal entry, you will be researching, analyzing the various trails used by the expedition in order to reach the Pacific Ocean. Now you have some choices on how you want to chronicle this journey. You can do one of the following options. First is a journal entry as your chosen crew member, highlighting a minimum of 5 different locations from the journey. Now, for each location, you need to have a picture representing the location, as well as some information about it. You can also do a visual trail using Screencastify on Google My Maps or Google Maps. If you choose to do it this way, you need to either attach the link or a YouTube video, however you decide to share it, to your video on the journal. So there's no actual writing involved if you do the screencast. I will be posting a separate screencast explaining how to use Screencastify and Google My Maps, so look out for that to come later. Journal number 3, you'll be focusing on the food that they were eating on the expedition. You will be researching and reporting on the types of food consumed by the members of the expedition. You're then going to provide a brief overview on the items and the resources they use for food, or you can concentrate your research on specific foods consumed and report back on that. Now, there's a couple of different ways you can do this. First, you can actually record your own cooking show using only ingredients and methods that were available to the Corps of Discovery. You should try to research the food that's being eaten and focus on how the food is prepared. Now, if you do decide to do a cooking show, make sure you are using proper safety precautions when preparing the food. Make sure you're being supervised. I don't need anyone in the kitchen trying to cook by themselves. If you're not allowed to use the oven, use the stove. Make sure you have parental guidance. I do not want anyone burning down their house. Do not do that, please. Now, for this, you don't need to use the exact same ingredients that the Corps of Discovery actually used, but you should be using ingredients at least based on what they would have made. Your other option is to write a journal. It's going to detail the various types of food that you would have consumed on this expedition. This is going to include different types of natural foods, wildlife, fruits and vegetables, as well as goods they would have traded for along the way. For this, you need to include pictures on your site, pictures of the different foods, as well as 3 paragraphs detailing the process of producing the food. Journal number 4 deals with the wildlife, terrain, and botany, the plants. For this one, you're going to be recording the various wildlife, terrain, and botany that the expedition encountered during their journey. You're going to have a choice of 3 different options to do this section. You can make an interactive map using this link right here. It shows where you encountered all of these new species on the journey. You can do journal entries for the animals and plants they discovered, and modern photos for comparison. So each one being 3 or 4 paragraphs, or 3 or 4 paragraphs total, Or you can recreate sketches of the animals and plants that were encountered during the journey. Now, these need to be created by you, hands drawn, so it's no photoshopping or copying and pasting images. You need to actually either hand draw them and then scan them in, or you can also use Google Drawing and make them yourself on there. This needs to include 5 different points, 2 to 3 sentences describing the drawing and what it is that you have drawn. Your final journal is going to be about the Native Americans that were encountered along the route of the expedition. You're going to research the different Native American nations they encountered during the expedition. You're going to make a page on the site dedicated to one Native American tribe, so one tribe encountered by the expedition. You're going to include any information about them you think is important, about their resources, their climate, their way of life in general. This is going to be 2 to 3 paragraphs. Now, make sure you are taking a look at the timeline posted on Classroom. It tells you basically when you should be finishing each of these journal entries. In total, this whole thing is going to be turned in on May 6th. That is Wednesday, May 6th. Let's put that right in here. To Wednesday, May 6th. Make sure we have that in there. Go ahead and make that a little bit smaller too. Put that down to like size 20 font. That's cool. Awesome. Yeah, this is due Wednesday, May 6th. Down at the bottom here, you have some recommended sources for all of these different journals. You need to do all 5. You need to use sources. Specifically, you need to use 5 total sources, at least 1 for each journal. The final page of your Google site should be a works cited page in proper MLA format, or you can do it on a separate document and attach it to the project on Classroom. But you need an MLA works cited page. Some other good resources you can use Miss Newman's webpage. There's a lot of information about Lewis and Clark on there. You can use the PBS documentary from Ken Burns, as well as another about Lewis and Clark. The Library of Congress and the University of Nebraska has many of the journals from Lewis and Clark, so lots of good stuff there. Now down here you can see the rubric, how each of these activities being scored. Each journal is worth 9 points. Your works cited is worth 5 points for a total of 50 points. Now my math this time, I know I made a math mistake last time I did one of these. 9 plus 9 plus 9 plus 9 plus 9, that is 9 times 5 is 45. Plus 5 is 50. So make sure you are getting all of these journals done. Make sure you have that works cited page, because this is a 50-point evaluation grade. This is one of the big ones, so make sure you do a good job on this. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below, and I will get back to you ASAP.